Good evening from Washington, D.C., and thank you to those of you joining us from around the world for news from a Catholic perspective. I'm Lauren Ashburn. We begin with Christian refugees, those suffering from persecution in Iraq. They are pleading directly to President Trump tonight, begging the U.S. for aid before the end of the week. That's the deadline for the government to provide portions of more than $1 billion in aid to religious minorities. We will have continuing coverage throughout the broadcast. Wyatt Goolsby begins our coverage.
Good evening, Lauren. President Trump has promised to help, but the funds allocated by Congress to aid Iraq's religious minorities must be distributed before the fiscal year ends Saturday. So far, that money has been withheld, leaving tens of thousands of Christians and Yazidis to suffer the consequences. Christians and Yazidis in Iraq are making a powerful plea to the president. The young refugees at camps in Mount Sinjar and Dohuk hold up makeshift signs saying, "Please help us, Mr. Trump." Human rights activists like Joseph Kassab are crying out for the Christian community, who have received little or no aid from the U.S. government, even though Congress has allocated more than $1 billion for refugees, including Christians and religious minorities. Kassab's group is trying to stabilize the region.
You pledge money and you don't give that money? What is going on here? We keep asking this question. Some of the answers is that there is very uncertainty and no stability in the areas in order to be helped out.
In March of 2016, the U.S. State Department declared ISIS attacks on Christians and other religious minorities in Iraq and Syria genocide. But since then, no aid has been sent. Critics point out the State Department quickly allocated nearly $32 million last week to help the Rohingya, a Muslim minority facing violence and discrimination in Myanmar. The White House did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Officials at the State Department have yet to respond directly to our questions about aid to Iraq's religious minorities, but USAID, run from the State Department, say they have been allocating millions of dollars to help displaced people on camps and communities in Iraq, often with families. Lauren?
So Wyatt, why then are Christians and Yazidis saying they're not getting that money?
Well, Lauren, that really strikes at the heart of the issue here. Most of the displaced religious minorities are not in the camps, many of whom are organized by the UN. Christians and Yazidis are afraid to go to the camps because they're often raped, abused, terrorized. Instead, nonprofit groups and churches like the Archdiocese of Erbil have been housing thousands of them without direct aid from the U.S. government. Lauren?
We will talk to the head of the Archdiocese of Erbil in just a few minutes. Thank you so much. Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reporting from the White House.